Of course, we go to the European Parliament, very important force, because if we want to achieve a New Deal, we need to have the Parliament with us. And there is a fantastic person who is leading the Culture Committee, Sabine Verheyen from Aachen. And I just want that quote fantastic. Last week, you had a Culture and Education Committee. The Commissioner was there. Thierry Breton was also there with you. And you issued the statement, we need to save culture and values of Europe at all costs, whatever it takes, Luca. So, Sabine, can we get the Parliament very much to back up our audacious proposals?
Thank you very much. First, I would also like to say Happy Europe Day. And I think you could not choose a better day for your webinar than the 70 years anniversary of the Schuman Declaration. I think Europe is much more than just an economical club. And as Maria Gabriel already said, the heart, the soul of Europe is our culture, our common history, our common culture, and cultural heritage is, like it was already said, the stones of our history and our souls made visible, because when we know our own history, our own roots, where we do come from, our own culture, and see the diversity, the richness we have in cultural diversity in Europe, and we see also in this diversity all these things we have in common, our common history, the links we had in the past together. Taking a look that the cathedral in Cologne never would exist in that way when we did not have French architects who tried to reach the sky and to bring light into the cathedrals, into the churches at that time, in the Gothic times. We had an exchange of culture throughout Europe through all the centuries. We are influenced by each other, and to have the knowledge about that, to see that, to have the possibility to make these cross-border experiences today leads to the situation that we can learn from our past for the times now, but also bring it to the future, like Maria Gabriel said, and I cannot support that more. And I think she had the best words to do that. Thank you for that, Maria. I think what's important now in the COVID-19 crisis is that we see now how important culture, the culture and creative sector is, not just for our economies, but also for the well-being of the people. If you are not able to go to a theater, to go to a concert, to go to a cinema, to enjoy all our cultural identity, to visit a library. I'm always very impressed on the culture of libraries we have in Finland. I think people now in the times of Corona saw when you lose something, when you are missing something, when you are not able to join, you see what you are losing. And I hope that people recognize now more how important our culture is for our daily life and also for our well-being. And having said that, I think it must also be clear that in the programs we have to bring the cultural sector to forward again, because the lockdown was creating a big damage to the cultural and creative industries, to the sector. And I hope that we get an impact to a renascimento of the sector now after the crisis. What we have to do is to take a look what are the positive aspects we had in this crisis, looking to the digitization question. I think many cultural people and offers in the cultural sector were made now also in digital forms. But what we see there is to do it for grant is easy, but to get the right fair shares in payment offers also so that the creative sector is reimbursed in a fair way is still difficult, so that we have to work on this in future, digitization in a fair environment for creators. What we have to do too is to fight further, and that is what I say also to the Minister of Culture from Croatia, because the Croatian presidency is at the moment, please support us in fighting for a doubling of the Creative Europe budget, because after the crisis, we need more money to bring the sector back to the top. And I think our cultural heritage and our cultural diversity in Europe is the richness we have, like I said already. But what we also need is to have a good access to all the other programs too. And like it was said by Stefan Bern, it's not just the cultural building, it's not just the monument, it's not just the core, but it's also all these things that are existing beside: the restaurants, the hotels, the visitors, the identity that is brought by these things, but also the economical aspect of our cultural heritage into other sectors. And that's the reason why we also need the support out of the structural development funds, out of the FC, out of the funds that are set up now by the European Investment Bank and by the Commission, that the cultural and creative sector has an adequate access. But having said that, we also have to take a look, because the cultural and creative sector is a very specific sector in many fields. And that's the reason why we need programs that are strictly adapted to the sector, so that they can take part in these programs, that they have a fair share in these programs. And that is what we are working for in the next weeks. And I hope that we get the support of the Commission, of the Council, and of every institution that can support us, and so that we can help the creative and cultural sector to come back to the core of European policy.